your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Introducing Bark in the Belly Premium Dog Food. 100% of profits go to help dogs in need.
Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Hello and welcome on in to another edition of the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart here on the Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air from behind the glass 5 days a week, live on YouTube at noon Eastern time, and wherever you get your podcasts as well. We're keeping it a little free form here on a Friday. Today, we are talking about the trade packages for Jarren Duran. It's the number one trade chip the Red Sox have, allegedly, and Bleacher Report has come out with their trade packages. We will go over the best five and which ones actually make sense for the Red Sox. Plus, we will look at Jaylen Brown and the unbelievable tear that he's on right now. What does this mean for the Celtics going forward, even beyond possibly the playoffs this season? And is the respect around his name finally going to change? Plus, we will talk about Team USA since I ordered a jersey today. We're going to keep it light on the last segment of the week. What players who didn't make the Four Nations team last year should be going with Team USA to Milan in February? All that and more coming up on this episode of the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart. But we start where we start. It's in the thumbnail. It's why you're here. The Red Sox need a big-time offseason, and much of that's probably going to come through the trade market with how we see these free agents outside of Alex Bregman and Pete Alonso. Certainly, if you're looking for pitching, it's going to need to come through the trade market. And the number one trade chip for the Red Sox is Jarren Duran. Guy who finished in the top 10 of the MVP voting in 2024 is still team controlled for another couple of seasons, dirt cheap. Of course, that is the guy that other teams are going to be circling. Zachary Reimer of Bleacher Report laid out 8 Jarren Duran trade proposals, all of which, by the way, are proposed as Duran being the only one leaving the Red Sox in the trade, which I don't think will happen. I think he'll probably get packaged for a bigger deal. But for the sake of the argument here, let's look at the top 5 trade proposals with just Jarren Duran going out. First one we're going to look at, Duran to the Mets for corner infielder Mark Vientos and pitcher Jonah Tong. This, very fascinating one to get us started. Now, the Mets just traded Brandon Nimmo for Marcus Semien, so that's why they're looking for an outfielder here. And Vientos is obviously like more of a depth piece for a team like the Red Sox, but he does play a position where the Red Sox need some depth, could possibly be a starter. If you don't re-sign Alex Bregman, I think that would be a bad way to go. I think that's a very bad replacement. You'd have to be hoping for a bounce back year from him. He's only had a positive WAR season once in his entire career. 2 years ago, he hit 27 homers, but only drove in 71 runs. Had an 837 OPS, which is good, but that's a gamble. That's an anomaly in his career so far. The big part of this trade is the starting pitcher, Jonah Tong. Arguably the Mets' number one pitching prospect, a guy who led the entire minor leagues in strikeouts last year. 179 Ks in 113 innings. He is a power pitcher. The good news about Jonah Tong is he has Tim Lincecum written all over him. Small frame, but a power fastball. It's 95 and above consistently. His fastball whiff rate is about 15% higher than the major league average. And while he did kind of struggle in his first few major league starts at the end of the season last year, the Mets were kind of a mess. But he has Mets fans calling him the Canadian Cannon for a reason. And that is one hell of a nickname. The con about Jonah Tong is this. He has Tim Lincecum written all over him. I mean, again, look at this. If this isn't Tim Lincecum, I don't know what is. But there is bad news that comes with that, right? Like, actually, Tim Lincecum was actually my favorite player growing up. So I was all aboard big-time Timmy Jim, man. And his peak was insane. If you can get that kind of a peak, of course, you trade that in a heartbeat. You trade almost anyone in the league for that. But you do know that you're playing with fire when it comes to the longevity of this pitching style. One guy has really done it before, and that was Tim Lincecum, and it ended badly. Now, he was able to put up arguably a Hall of Fame peak before the injuries hit, but what if the injuries come earlier for Tong? That's a bad way. Either way, I kind of like this deal. I do like Tong a lot, and I think there are some ways that he can avoid kind of the catastrophic injuries because his off-speed stuff is fairly good. It clearly just needs some more development. You know, whiff rate in the minor leagues is much different on a fastball than whiff rate in the major leagues. But there is another con to this that I kind of want to go over in our next deal. So number 2 deal we're looking at, Jarren Duran to the Phillies for pitcher Andrew Painter. And yes, you heard that right. A 1-for-1 with a guy who has never started a major league game. This is interesting, though. Philly obviously still believes their championship window is open. They're really backed up against it when they're trying to pay Possibly Real Muto, who knows? But obviously paying Harper big money, going to try and keep Schwarber in there, possibly Ranger Suarez as well. So they're looking for someone who can improve their major league roster and be on the cheap. There are very few guys in the majors that can do that right now, like Jarren Duran can. Painter, on the other hand, Andrew Painter was rumored to come to Boston in one of these trade packages over the summer. That obviously didn't work out, but he's a top 5 prospect in baseball last year, even while he was undergoing Tommy John surgery. And the dude is massive. 6'7", giant starting pitcher. And even after Tommy John, that fastball is elite, plus, averaging 97 on it, touching 100 with it in the Arizona Fall League and in the minors last year. He's got an out pitch that isn't even the fastball, which is something that is a rare commodity for a power pitcher like this who hasn't pitched in the majors yet. He's got a devastating slider in the low 80s that can change speeds on you about 15 miles an hour. It's absolutely filthy. That said, there was a struggle last year to get back in the swing of things when he was pitching in the minors. His ERA was over 5, and he averaged almost 4 walks per 9 innings. So you are looking at an even more unproven commodity than someone like Jonah Tong, who pitched, a month in the majors and didn't look all that great. Andrew Painter could be a high-end power pitcher in the majors. Like he could be Garrett Crochet light. But probably not this year, right? And even then, again, I think Tong is a little bit more major league ready. Bottom line is, though, with both of those guys, I don't think either of them fill out a number 2 slot for you. And I do think Duran has enough value to be packaged for a true number 2 guy. Both these guys are good-looking prospects, but with the injuries, not any better looking to you than Connolly Early or Peyton Tolle is. So to me, it's almost like you're trading a hot commodity for something that you basically already have and or don't really need because they're not number 2 starters. Number 3, Jarren Duran to the Miami Marlins for Edward Cabrera and Joe Mack. Now, this one jumped off the page for a lot of people when it was first put out there. And certainly Edward Cabrera is coming off a good year. And obviously, maybe more than the Marlins needing a starting outfielder, they just want to get rid of a guy like Cabrera before they have to pay him. And he is a promising pitcher. He's coming off a downright good season. But there's a major issue here. First, this was his first year over 100 innings. And he only threw 137, and he's 27 years old. What you see is probably what you get at this point. He did, though, have 150 strikeouts in those 137 innings, 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, pretty devastating breaking stuff. That stuff you like. You like that. And he's entering a prime of his career. He's a right-hander, has a devastating changeup. Man, would you like that at the top of your rotation? Here's the problem, though. You already have that at the top of your rotation. You already have that. If he has another good season, which is an if, he's Brian Bayo. Cabrera, like you go side by side here, Cabrera's strikeout numbers were better than Bayo, for sure. And Bayo pitched 30 more innings, but they have a pretty similar arsenal. Their ERA is 0.18 points off each other. And ERA plus is just 2 points off. So you're trying to bring in someone who's even better than Bayo, in theory, in whatever big trade you're going to make for number 2 starter. So I don't really get this one. You're bringing in a guy who is very similar to Bayo, and he's a year younger than a year older, than Brian Bayo. So I'm just not really seeing the writing here. If you hadn't signed Sonny Gray, and you wanted to bring in Cabrera in as a number 4, that would make more sense to me. But this is where I come back to kind of the fundamental flaw of this article and this exercise is you could trade Jarren Duran for a pitching prospect or an Edward Cabrera, or, instead of trying to trade him, just one guy send out there, you could package him with two other guys and get Joe Ryan instead. Or who knows, Hunter Green or someone like that instead. So, yeah, Edward Cabrera, nice season, but he's not going to do it for me. I mean, we said this with Bayo like a year ago. He's 25, he's 26. What he is what he is. Cabrera's older, and he's had one good season. All right, so that's where you're losing me there. You're just trading your number one trade piece to get another Brian Bayo. It seems a bit redundant for me. Excuse me. Number 4, Jarren Duran to the Kansas City Royals for Cole Ragans. Now we're talking. Now we're really cooking with gas here. We know Kansas City was already interested in Duran over the summer. Their GM basically said as much. And he also said that Cole Ragans is not off limits. Now is your shot. Now, of course, there's a big con here with Ragans that we will get through. But he is a fascinating case. Whereas Jarren Duran finished top 10 in the AL MVP voting back in 2024 and won the All-Star Game MVP and is now on the trade block a year and a half later. Cole Ragans finished 4th in Cy Young voting in 2024 and now sits on the trade block as well. When Ragans is healthy, he is filthy. He is nasty. He is a pig. And we saw that in 2024. He struck out a ridiculous 223 batters in 186 innings. And all he did was lead all of baseball with a disgusting 10.8 strikeouts per 9. Yeah, the dude is power. Okay. And even this past year, when he was hurt, he only threw 61 innings. He struck out 98 guys. That is incredible. He was on the same pace, man. He's got one of the best whiff rates in baseball. In fact, it's much better than Garrett Crochet's, who's one of the best strikeout pitchers in baseball. And Ragans' strikeout percentage is literally in the 100th percentile. Like, we are talking about next level kind of stuff. Like, should be an ace in your rotation kind of stuff. When healthy, he's an incredible number 2 guy. Incredible. And imagine that in a playoff series after you face Garrett Crochet, right? Like, back-to-back nights of power pitcher, left side, striking out, like not even putting the ball in play. Back-to-back nights in a playoff series. You think that would have beaten the Yankees last year? I think so. But here's the problem. There's a reason why this would be his 3rd team by age 28 if a deal went through. Because I keep saying when he's healthy. He's rarely healthy. He's had one full year as a starting pitcher. 2024 was the only year he made more than 13 starts, and he made 32 of them. It's the only year he pitched over 100 innings. Pitched, obviously, 186. And this year, he goes down with not only a groin injury, but also a rotator cuff injury. There's a reason why you're not packaging together 4 guys for Cole Ragans. He's damaged goods in all likelihood. He's a guy in his prime, but you just don't know how much you're going to get out of the guy. He had an injury history early on with Texas. He has it with Kansas City, and it's not gone anywhere. He only made, 9 starts last year. So it's a huge gamble, is what I'm saying. It's a humongous gamble. Again, it's your number 1 trade piece that you could put in a package for some real high-end starting pitching that doesn't have the same injury history as someone like Cole Ragans. It's a big time risk. And the Red Sox are in a point where they don't need to make a risk. And this is what I keep coming back to with these deals for starting pitchers and these deals that show Jarren Duran going out as the only guy. You're in a great position where you don't have to take the risk of a Walker Buehler or a Michael Wacha or, whomever. You can send out a couple of prospects like you did last year, a much more calculated risk with Crochet last year. And you can get a top of the rotation guy who doesn't have an injury history. You don't have to take a waiver on a guy. If you're going to take a waiver on your number 2 or number 3 starter, why not just pitch Peyton Tolley and Connolly early? Like that's a much more like that's taking a waiver, so to speak, with guys who already have trade value and are young and team controlled, and you don't have to give up anything for them. You're developing them right now. So that's where I'm at with Cole Reagans. Love it when he's on, but he's not on a lot. He's not on the field a lot. The final one that I want to go over, which is really fascinating to me. How about Jarren Duran to Cincinnati for second baseman Matt McLain and left-handed pitcher Nick Lodolo? This one really titillates me. I'm not going to lie to you guys. We've heard Cincinnati before. They want an outfielder, specifically a corner outfielder. They are interested in Jarren Duran. But if you're only going to send Duran out, it's not going to land you Hunter Green. We had Jeff Carr of Locked On Reds on about a month ago now, when that first Hunter Green proposal went out there. And he had actually come back with something for Nick Lodolo instead. And here we are. And I think it makes a ton of sense. The more I've looked into it, the more it makes sense. Matt McLain, second baseman. You never have second baseman. Let's be honest. He's not very good. He missed all of 2024. He stunk in 2025. He had a 74 OPS plus, like former first round pick. But that's about all you need to know, though. Nick Lodolo, however, is something else. He's coming off what is comfortably his best year in the major leagues. He kind of quietly put up a nearly 5 WAR season for the Reds and was their number 2 guy. It was a big reason why they made it to the postseason. 137 ERA plus over 28 starts. And he's not a huge power guy, even though he's big. He's crafty for a big lefty. A strikeout per inning kind of guy. Fastball, league average for a lefty, 94 miles an hour. And for a guy with great off-speed stuff, he gets a lot of whiffs and does not walk many guys. This is where I'm really loving him. His strikeout to walk rate, a pretty gross 5-1, and had a whip under 1.1. For a starter, a left-handed starter without a fastball, that's pretty awesome, especially for a starter that most of us don't know about. I'd say most Red Sox fans aren't caught up on Nick Lodolo and how dominant he was in the NL Central. Now, the downside of this, he hasn't pitched more than 140 innings in a season. So that's a downside. You were going over the same thing last year with Crochet, who I think had pitched 146 as his career high. And obviously that worked out. I think he led the league in innings pitched this year, actually. But this is a different kind of risk here of trying to get it 2 years in a row. So that's the downside. The upside is he is the perfect complement to Crochet style-wise. He is another lefty, but he's a little more crafty. He's going to use a lot of off-speed. He's going to locate. He's not going to strike out everybody, but he's going to get a lot of weak contact, easy outs. And he is exactly what you hope Connolly early becomes. And I really like Connolly early, especially what we saw from him in that playoff start against the Yankees. I think he's got a lot of the good things that you want in a starting pitcher this early in his career. And I think he can be a legit middle of the rotation guy in the major leagues. But Nick Lodolo already is that. You know what I mean? That's what you're trading for here if you trade Duran. And that makes early very expendable. It might mean that his value drops, but you would also have a number 2 guy here in Lodolo. Again, risk that he's only done it one time for 1 year. But to me, when you look at the numbers, this is a guy who is learning how to pitch. He's never had an overpowering fastball. I watched him pitch a lot in college in the Big 12, actually. So I'm pitched live a few times. Devastating slider, had a great changeup, much like Connolly early. And he's kind of learning how to place that. You see how much better his control has gotten year over year in the majors. For a college guy, he's 27, so he's just entering his prime. To me, he's just learning how to pitch truly and get weak contact and get hitters out at this level. So I love a Nick Lodolo one. That said, we go back to the thesis of this. It's probably not your best idea to just trade Jarren Duran. Just him, and that's the package. I just think you can have him headline a package that can get you much more. But if you could get Nick Lodolo or Cole Reagans and only give up Duran, if you can't fit him into a Joe Ryan trade, I'd take it, especially Lodolo. Like if there's some world where we knew that the Minnesota Twins were asking for Marcelo Meyer, Early, Tolley, and Duran for Joe Ryan, then no, I'd make this deal for Nick Lodolo. But again, I think you can probably get more. Lodolo fascinates me, though. I would love to see if you can get him in the door here, especially if you hadn't already got traded for Sonny Gray, whom I'm still half in, half out on, if we're being honest. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Who would you want in return for a Jarren Duran trade, and what starting pitchers are you looking for? Did any of these catch your eye? For me, I like Tong. I do as a prospect, and I really like Nick Lodolo. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you live every weekday, noon Eastern time on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. Your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. It's right here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart. When we come back, we're going to talk a little Celtics. They're getting hot. They're in a playoff spot. And the big reason why, no surprise, is Jaylen Brown. But what is a surprise is how he's gotten there. We are looking at a potential MVP kind of tear from Jaylen Brown. Let's go over it next on the Wicked Boston Show.
At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. us.muc-off.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
Back here, Wicked Boston Show, Rogue Media Sports Network, your host Cam Stewart, Zach Burke behind the glass, keeping us on the air every weekday, live at noon Eastern time and available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. So appreciate you guys making this your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. We haven't talked a lot of Celtics this year, mainly because they're just, they haven't been great and they haven't sucked. Right? So they haven't been very divisive, But I talked about them the other day as being a team that's too good to tank. And that certainly looks like the case right now. And it's really Jaylen Brown who has made them a team that is too good to tank. So I got to ask, Drake May is probably the front runner in the MVP right now, but does Boston have two legitimate MVP candidates? There's been all kinds of questions around Jaylen Brown going into this year. Can he be the number one guy? Can Jaylen carry the Celtics? Should the Celtics just trade him and start over with a great prospect alongside Tatum when he comes back? Instead, the Celtics said, we're rolling with JB. We'll see what we got here. And as we've seen in the last couple of weeks, he's on one. He's playing exactly how we hoped. When we realized there'd be no Jason Tatum on the parquet this year, Jaylen Brown is playing the way we thought he would. The Celtics have won 5 of their last 6 games. And Brown is the main reason. How about this for his last 5 games? 35 points, 33 points, 41 points, 19 points, and 42 points. And oh, by the way, the night where he scored 19, only 19, he also had 12 rebounds and 11 assists. In his worst scoring output of that stretch, he still had a triple-double. Like, he gave you the full Ice Cube effect. It was a good day. Fucked around and got a triple-double. And in that span, he's averaged 34, 7, and 7. And the Celtics keep winning. And they're in a playoff spot. That is elite stuff. That is all NBA kind of stuff right there. And there's still plenty of time left in the season, obviously. But with the Celtics looking like a playoff team and being in that kind of position, what does this say about Jaylen Brown? Because, you thought that Jason Tatum was getting disrespected for years, and he has been. But in a different way, Jaylen Brown would get disrespected. Because they would say, oh, Jason Tatum, man, he's not even the go-to guy on his team. He's not even the clutch guy on his team. Jaylen Brown's the best player on his team, which isn't true. Tatum is a better player, but also, why is that such a bad thing? If Jaylen Brown is like if Jaylen Brown's better than Jason Tatum, but going by that logic, he's at least a top 10 player in the NBA because Tatum's a top 5 player in the NBA. So even though he's already made an all-NBA team and he won the finals MVP for one of the most dominant teams of the 21st century, is it only now that he's going to get some damn respect here? Like when Tatum's not on the floor and you see what this guy's doing night in, night out, is he going to get some real respect? Not like, hey, I'm going to throw some respect his way as a way to disrespect his teammate? I hope so, man. He deserves it. And I was skeptical coming into the season. I'm not going to lie to you guys. When there were those rumors out there that you could trade Jaylen Brown to Dallas for the number 1 pick, and knowing that Cooper Flagg just feels like a slam dunk prospect if there ever is such a thing. I was thinking that, man. I was like, man, you take a max contract off your books. You have a chance when Tatum comes back to have Cooper Flagg playing with him and developing with him and all this money to go out and get someone at a max deal, possibly in the prime of their career, or maybe someone like a Giannis Antetokounmpo who's trying to ring chase again. Ring chase for the first time. Get a ring again, I guess is a better way to put that. I'm not going to lie to you. That idea enticed me. And in some moods, it still entices me now. But as friend of the show, Dan Greenberg points out all the time on social media, you could do that. Or you can have a team that has Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I kind of like that option too. And Brown's numbers this season outside of the last 5 games have shown that he can lead a team. Championship team? No. That's not what the Celtics are right now. But a good team? Yeah. He's averaging 29 a game. He's been huge in the clutch. He's once again embracing his role as a downhill transition scorer, which I thought he got away from at times last year. He's not a three-point shooter. He's an inside-out player, but he's a good inside player. It's clearly his most effective offensive game. He's taking more twos this year, has the highest field goal percentage of any season of his career this year. So he's really rounding out again the same way he did in 23-24 when the Celtics won the title. Unfortunately for him, they don't have the supporting cast to win the title this year, obviously, But he goes off against the Knicks the other night after a rough start to the game. Like, he's doing everything you've asked of him. And so what does this mean for the next iteration of the Celtics? In the short term, it means you're not trading for someone like a Cooper Flagg, obviously, and you're rolling with that core and you're building around those two guys when Tatum comes back. But it's a question we have to ask in the NBA more than most other sports. Because after this season, in which I think the Celtics will make the playoffs, the writing will be out there. Jaylen Brown can carry a team. We saw this years ago when Kyrie had a great NBA Finals. And the next year, the question was, can Kyrie lead a team? And he certainly wanted to do that and go out and do his own thing. And it's been a mess ever since. He's been a great player, but it's been a mess and a soap opera ever since. And who is one of Kyrie's best friends on the Celtics? None other than a young, impressionable Jaylen Brown. So that's where I get fascinated, because it's the NBA. In the other sports, you don't even really care about this. But in the NBA, it is constantly a thing. At the end of this season, is Jaylen Brown going to be like, hell yeah, I can't wait to ride sidecar with Jason Tatum again and win more championships? Or is he going to say, I can lead my own team? I can be the dude. Maybe Houston's not the place anymore because they got Durant. Obviously he loves Ime. But could he go somewhere and turn them into a contender? Someone that's got good, young, scrappy players that's looking to go over the top. It's not Houston, but could it be Dallas, where he can play with Kyrie again and have Cooper Flagg there? If he goes to Dallas, he's the best player on the team. Kyrie's a future Hall of Famer, but Jaylen Brown right now in his prime is the best player on the team. So that becomes a question. And I don't know, man. I mean, Jaylen, certainly when he was playing, when the Celtics were playing for championships every year in his career, except for this one, he looked like a team player, a selfless player, and he was great for them in the postseason. So I don't have any reason to believe he's going to do a Kai Me situation and say, I can't wait to lead a team. But it's something that comes up all the time in the NBA. So is this season that he's putting out right now good or bad for the Celtics in the long term? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you live every weekday, noon Eastern time, and then, of course, wherever you get your podcasts as well. Your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio right here on The Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart. When we come back, we're shifting our focus to the ice. USA Hockey going to the Olympics, if the NHL players are going there. They came up just short at the Four Nations last year. So who are the guys who made the team last year that shouldn't be there this year? And in return, what we're really looking at is what guys didn't make it last year that should be skating with the USA across their chest in 2026. We'll go over it next on The Wicked Boston Show.
Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more.
A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
Back here on the Wicked Boston Show, Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Kim Stuart. Zach Burke behind the glass, keeping us on the air 5 days a week, live on YouTube, and of course, wherever you get your podcasts as well. I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm coming down with something. USA Hockey Fever, baby. Yep, the jerseys went on sale this morning. I bought mine, blue, Jack Eichel. It's going to come in like a month and a half, and I already cannot wait. And all this talk about the arena just gets me even more fired up. We need to get that shit squared away. We need to have the NHL players going, and I need this in my life. I need the USA hockey team in the Olympics in my life, and we all need, the hockey world needs a USA-Canada gold medal game for the first time since 2010. We need it. And there's something else we need, but I'll start with that. So I wanted to look at some of the guys who did not make the Four Nations team last year that went to, obviously, the championship game before losing to Canada in overtime, and which of those guys should be making the team this year. And we're looking like position for position too. It's not just, oh, this guy's good. You need to get him in there. Well, one of the guys is like that, actually. So here are, without any further ado, the 5 guys who did not make the USA Four Nations team that should be making the team that's about to win the gold medal in Milan in a couple of months. Number 1, Jason Robertson of the Dallas Stars. Always loved this guy, but obviously, he had a Hart Trophy finish, top 5 a couple years ago, and it's been good, just not great ever since. He's having another really good season here, maybe great. 36 points in 28 games for Dallas, and he's playing $19.57 a night. They love having this guy out here on both special teams units and on their first line. He's kind of a rare 200-foot winger. In fact, he's a little bit better version of these guys in their prime. He's a little bit better of a version than Brad Marchand, I think, which is really saying something. And if he can keep up the longevity of Brad Marchand, he obviously could be all. Another guy that they will flirt with, that they had as a winger, even though he's a natural center, in last year's Four Nations tournament, was Jack Hughes. Now, he's having a great year before he got hurt, but we don't really know how much he's going to be able to play before the Olympics start. So first one for me is Jason Robertson slotting in on the left wing. Next one I want to look at is definitely the biggest gamble for me on this list, and that is Logan Cooley. Obviously, he is having a terrific year in Utah, and he certainly looks like one of the future pieces for future USA teams. But right now, I think he can find a spot here, but it would take Bill Guerin kind of backtracking a little bit. He's on pace for a 70-point season. I just think he's a better, more skilled player than the bottom 6 centers they had last year, Vinny Trocheck and JT Miller. Like, I just think he's, in today's day and age, he's a better option. That said, Bill Guerin likes having checking guys down at the bottom 6. And with the smaller ice surface, it looks like you are going to need some checkers. And I think Canada's probably going to do the same thing with the smaller ice surface. They'll probably have Sam Bennett out there. So that doesn't really find a spot for Logan Cooley. But if you're looking for just pure skill and offensive creativity, Like I think he's leagues better than what Miller and Trocheck will give you right now, especially Trocheck. And JT Miller's effort has been in question. So, and you've seen some of the clips from the Rangers this year. It's downright embarrassing at times. So this one is more who would be playing instead of Logan Cooley, more so than even Logan Cooley. Number 3, and a really hot name for this Olympic roster, Cole Caulfield of the Montreal Canadiens. I mean, the guy is just good at putting the puck in the net, man. He is really good at it. He's coming off his first 70-point season, and he's having an even better pace this year for the Habs. 29 points in 26 games. He is driving play from the right wing position, 14 goals, 15 assists. He's playing 18-25 a night, has been excellent on the power play, even though he's only had 1 power play goal. So he's not tied down to that, but man, is he a good player when it comes to that unit. 9 power play assists is where you're seeing that as well. He's small, so maybe that helps him on the smaller ice surface, or maybe you're thinking he needs to check more if he's on the smaller ice surface. But I'm a big Cole Caulfield fan, as much as it pains me because he plays for my least favorite team in the league, and a team that I have a vested interest in rooting against. But I think he should sneak his way onto this Team USA team. I mean, I get it. You want a guy like Vinny Trocheck or JT Miller staple gunning guys into the boards on the 4th line. But how about a guy who can give you a goal at the drop of a hat and can score from distance on your 4th line? That is what Cole Caulfield will give you. So big fan of him making Team USA, if nothing else, for kind of like why I think Canada should go with Morgan Geekie. You know, he's a guy who can score from pretty much anywhere in the offensive zone, and you can stick him on your 4th line. Like, that is a heck of a position to be in. Next one I want to look at is the only defenseman I have on the list, because I think at defense, the U.S. is pretty set with what they had last year, and that is Seth Jones. I mean, talk about a guy who was just buried on a team in Chicago at the beginning of part of last year that just wasn't getting any kind of respect. Certainly think he got that when he went to Florida, and obviously was a huge part of that Stanley Cup run. In fact, you know, I would argue he was their 2nd best defenseman in that Stanley Cup run, and it's pretty tough to get past what Gustav Forsling was doing for them. I thought he was even better than Ekblad. But looking at obviously his career, he's been there and done that. You know, kind of quietly. He's now 31 years old. He's made the All-Star team 4 times and has not been able to represent Team USA, obviously at a best-on-best tournament, because they really haven't had any other than the 4 nations in the last 12 years. You know, he's a good puck carrier, obviously very big, very physical kind of defenseman. We saw that in the playoffs last year. You didn't always see it in Chicago. There was a bit of an effort question with the Blackhawks, but when he was on a team that was bought in and was competing, his compete level went up a ton. So, you know, you may not like that as an NHL GM, but like Team USA, their compete level is going to be high. And so you're going to get that out of Seth Jones as well. I think he is going to be a good fixture on that blue line for them. And, you know, you look at the rest of the Team USA defense, like I say, it's in pretty good shape. You know, Jackson Lacombe, the youngster from Anaheim, could make an argument now. You've got some guys that are injured at the moment, but you're looking at Quinn Hughes and Charlie McAvoy in the first pairing. You didn't have Hughes last year. You've got Jacob Slavin and either Adam Fox or Brock Faber, and whomever one of those isn't playing in the second pairing is playing on the third with Zach Werenski. Zach Werenski, you can argue, had the best season out of any of these guys last year, and he's on the third pairing because of how you match it up. That is a damn good decor. And they'll obviously have Jake Sanderson on the team from last year as well. And so I think Seth Jones probably slots in there as your 8th defenseman, but someone who can absolutely contribute for you in a pinch. Last guy I want to highlight on this list. This is the one where I'm not even looking at the guys who are ahead of him, but I think the USA made a big mistake last year in not having this guy on the team, and I don't think they'll make that mistake this year, and that is Tage Thompson of the Buffalo Sabres. Yeah, I mean, it just seems crazy with what he's done over the last couple of years that you would not have Tage Thompson on Team USA. He was phenomenal in 24-25. He led the league at even strength goals at 37 goals. It was quietly kind of the year of Tage Thompson. He scored the winner for the USA at the World Championships, their first win in like 91 years at that tournament. 44 goals last year, 47 a couple years ago. He's not at quite the blistering pace we thought he'd be this year because Buffalo's having a tougher time scoring goals than they did last season, but it is Buffalo we're talking about. 22 points in 27 games, and is another guy kind of like Caulfield, man. He can score from everywhere, and you can put him on the bottom six, and he can play a bit of center if you need him to, or a bit of wing if you need him to. He's naturally a center. I like having him in there more than Miller or Trocheck, but you can also put him on the wing, and he's going to be just as effective, guys. And he's obviously not a big hitter. He's not known as a physical guy, but you take him away from the grind of an 82-game season and put him in a 2-week season at 6'6", 220, he can probably knock as many guys around as Vinny Trocheck can at this point and can be just as effective. So I just don't know that there's any world that you don't have Tage Thompson. I think you made a mistake not having him in there last year. And when Austin Matthews is down and Jack Eichel isn't the goal scorer that some people think he is, then, Tkachuk was injured at the tournament last year. Obviously, Matthews wasn't at 100%. To have a bona fide 40, 45 goal scorer that you can bring into your lineup like Tage Thompson, that is too good to pass up. So those are my top 5 guys that did not make the Four Nations team last year that should be making the Olympic team this time around. And it's a big, big deal for me. I know it is for this country as well. So let me know who you think should be going with Team USA to Milan. Let me know in the comments section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Of course, we come at you live every weekday, noon Eastern time on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. We thank you for making it that. It is the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart. We hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.